we got this filter put back in. We already have the new pump over here put in, and I've got the supply line. This is a check valve. So this is going to be the supply line, and then this is going to be the, well, I guess this is actually supply from the tanks. This is the pressurized side out to the pressurized water system. So we've got this guy here. This is the pressure controller. This goes on there. So I've got the motor side disconnected right now. We have to rehook that up once I get this put in here. Got to secure the motor down too. So we put the water line. Alright, so I just wanted to show this. I tore apart the old water pump. This is the diaphragm pump. So it was leaking pretty badly. I think this rubber seal here is what was leaking and causing it to run down the back out of that hole there. It was it's, you know, rusted all the bolts pretty badly, so I don't think I'm going to try to do anything with this. These pumps are cheap enough to, it's not worth messing with it. So, and I've already got I've got the new pump already installed here. This is the jet pump. That's the controller. That's what tells that's the pressure controller. And then what I've done is, since this new pump is 110 volts, I put in this little gizmo here. Let's see if I can get the camera down in there. So if you can see that, what that does is it can take either AC or DC voltage up to 120 volts AC, and it's a relay. So then what I did was I hooked it up to the 12 volts from the switch that normally ran the old pump. So when this comes on, it'll close the 120 volts coming to this pump. So I tied the 120 volts in for this pump into one of the drape motors, which is on the inverter circuit. So when you're going down the road, you'll still have inverter power, and you'll be able to run the pump, the water pump. So I bump tested it yesterday, and it's running fine. So it comes on just fine. So today we just need to add some water and leak test everything and see how it goes. Hopefully, the only thing, like I said, this pump said it's actually self-priming. Generally, these jet pumps are not self-priming, but we'll see how that goes. It does have a little, it's hard to see, it's up under this piping here. It does have a little bolt you can remove to kind of get some air out of it, so we'll see. Alright, we're going to take the sporlan valve out to lubricate it. We've got to remove this heater. So just verify that the sporlan valve is not energized, which you can tell if it's warm or not. And also, I know the switch is off. Again, you don't want to remove this if it's energized. It will burn the coil out. So that's just a coil. It's a 12-volt coil. It comes from a switch outside. We'll show that later. We're going to fill the tanks. So you can see there's 4 screws on this valve that we're going to remove. Zoom in a little more on that. Might have a little water pressure on it, I'm not sure. Let's see if I can get this out of here. Yeah, it's got a little water coming out of it. Turn on one of the faucets, please. I just forgot, should have depressurized the system first. But careful you don't lose any of these parts. So there's a plunger in here. That's what that electromagnetic acts on. And that in turn acts on this little diaphragm right here. Alright, so I cleaned the seat in here real good. Scotch-Brite. I've cleaned up the diaphragm and I put a little plumber's grease on it. Put that back in. Got the O-ring. We're going to put some A little plumber's grease on it just to keep it in place. And I also put a little plumber's grease on this little piston. I'm going to be careful starting these. It's a brass housing. Make sure you start them with your fingers. Three-eighths nut driver blue. Be good. Put the solenoid back on it. So for any of you that don't know what this does, this electromagnetic coil goes around here, creates an electromagnetic field, and that pulls that inner piston up or pushes it down depending on how it's built. I'm not 100% sure on these. I think it pushes it down. That's the Sporlan BR184P1. Pressure is 150. So I think that's just a coil. I'm not sure if that part number associates with the actual valve itself too. It might. That's it. Alright, we're going to test the valve. Turn the valve on. You hear that click? So that turns the Sporlan valve on, and it's filling the water tanks. We'll go outside and show you where that switch is in a minute. Off. I think it's stopping. Alright, so we're outside, we have the water hooked up, the water fill. That's the same, there was only one connection for the water on a water launch, so that's the water connection. And in here, you have this switch. It's in the power box, and that's what turns the water on to fill the tank. On and off. So I'm just trying to feel right now to feel if I can feel the water running through there. Seems like it takes a minute to shut off. There it goes, it shut off. So we're going to leave that on because we're going to fill a water tank. We need to go inside and just make sure we don't have any leaks. So right now we're filling the water tank. It's got a little bit of, I don't know if you can see that, just the water line, I think, right about there, just above the fill. We'll give it a little more water and see what happens. I may try it now, try priming the pump, see if it does it when it's pretty low on water. See what happens. Water it. I don't think it's priming, so we may have to pull the little fill off of it, make sure it's got water in it. Alright, so I'm going to try to get the air out of this pump. This little fill port. Hoping the water will just fill up in here. I don't think I'm that lucky. May actually have to fill this pump with water. Alright. So here's another use for a turkey baster. Filling up the water pump. Oops. Alright, so we got it mostly full of water. I'm going to put this Alright, we're going to try the pump again. Go ahead. Or if those lines coming out of that tank will be too small. You open up one of the valves, one of the water valves. Yeah, that's coming from the other thing. You'd have them turn that water off. Alright, so we had to do some reconfiguring. So apparently this little pump pressure module has to be vertical. So it wasn't shutting the pump off at pressure. Right now, the pump is still on. You can see the little red light on the module. That means the pump is, power is onto the pump, but the pump has shut off due to pressure, reaching pressure. So it's got a little pressure gauge on the side there. It's just shy, I think, of 50 pounds. And then when you use water, it cuts on. I'll have them use some water right now. There it goes. It's pushing water now. And turn it off. Turn the water off now. It's just filling the head tester back up. And it cuts off. So I think it's working like it's supposed to. I'm gonna probably leave this open, just make sure we're not getting any leaks. The other problem, they had this cheesy union that came with it with an O-ring on here, and I had to try sealing with tape, and it still wasn't sealing in there. Plus the height of that wouldn't allow me to get in here and put this cover back on this bed area. So I had to take that union out to get it down lower and put this 90 on here to turn it down. But I think we got it. Let's go to the bathroom. We'll show you the pressure. Alright, we're in the bathroom. We are not connected to the water from the city. This is just the pump. The new pump. So, see, almost just like being connected to city water. In the toilet. Much better pressure than little diaphragm pumps. You wouldn't even know you're on just your pump.